Can we then improve that process, like the working process? It's flawless, right?
What? How can we improve improve working practices? Well, you're gonna have to tell people.
Yeah, but our process is fine. How dare you tell me my process is incorrect?
It's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's sprint retrospective time, guys. One of the things we see in a lot of organizations is they'll say their process is perfect. I'm telling you right now, and I know nothing about your organization, but it's not. And what I mean by that is that...
Another shock.
Another shock? No. Organizations, they're like children, right? They like to be told that they're perfect, they're amazing. Well, sometimes they need to be told no. The biggest lie we've got here is that our working processes can't be improved. I was once working at a large corporate defense contractor in the UK. It's an American company. And I got told off that, hey, Ryan, why are you trying to encourage us to do something differently? It's worked that way for the last 5 years. Well, maybe, if it's worked for 5 years, maybe we could try and innovate on it. Maybe we could try and iterate and improve on it. This is a genuinely true story. They didn't like that, and the guy, who I will not name, flipped the table and walked out the room. It's the only time in my corporate life I've ever seen anyone flip a table.
It's such a weird thing as well, because we've been, as a human species, we've been using glass windows since like 800 after Christ, I think. The year 800, something like that. It's only in the early 1920s when they started to use double layer windows. So the fact that we've been doing the same for literally centuries does not mean that there are not better ways to do so. And since then, so let's say the last 100 years, there have been iterations of multiple layers of glass, meaning that in a very short time frame, relatively, we can improve a lot really quickly. The fact that this has worked for a very long time, but that we've done business the way we've been doing it forever, does not mean that we should continue it just for that sake, because that's the problem. If we're not going to innovate, if we do not plan, we're going to be part of someone else's plan. If we do not innovate, if we do not improve our process, someone else will do it for us, and ultimately we'll be out of a job.
And it's painful to improve, right? Nobody, when you feel like you're in a rut, actually trying to innovate, trying to change your process can be really painful. Some of the teams I work with, when we say, oh, you know, it's sprint retrospective, you'll hear the eye roll of, oh, it's that time again. We have to try and improve. And it is painful for a lot of people, but we hear a lot about technical debt. You know, I've got to upgrade my coding language, or we need to improve our documentation. Technical debt is fairly tangible to a lot of people, but process debt is the thing that's going to kill you. Process improvements are just as important as fixing that spaghetti code, or that really poor translation, or the really pixelated image you have on your website. Technical debt is important, but so is process debt, and I don't think it gets talked about enough.
Agreed. Jan Willem has a very nice comment as well. But it's going well, isn't it? Isn't good enough? And why change what is not broken in order to prevent it to become broken? Right? We want to stay in that same position. Like Magnum Opus in this case, we start our story off with they have always been like a very dominant company. They've always dominated the government sector with the biometric security machines that they've created. And they've been doing so forever. Now, apparently competitors have been doing it better, faster, so they've been finding ways to change, to adapt to changing circumstances. And now Magnum Opus, because they figured good is good enough, why change what is not broken, they are starting to fall behind. And that happens a lot.
Well, the only way to surely fail over the long time is to never change, right? The status quo. Now, I'm not saying that things that work well should always be changed. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. But I think a truly innovative and forward-leaning organization should be willing to say and reflect, maybe it's not right, and maybe we should see. A good practice in all teams when it comes to improvement, whether you're doing Scrum, Safe, Waterfall, whatever it is, to say, right, there is a potential improvement we could make here. Let's try it. Let's give it 6 weeks. And if it works, cool, it worked. If not, you've lost 6 weeks and you've been that process. It is not an expensive experiment to make.
Not at all. And it's good to work with that risk mitigation as well. Because else we'll be surely tackling ourselves.
Absolutely.
Thank you for those comments.